Well, thank you ever so much for joining us on the programme. We will, of course, continue to follow all of the reactions after Trump signed that executive order, doubling the tariffs on steel and aluminium imports. But we now move to the Indo-Pacific. South Korea's new president, Lee Jae-myung, has taken office today, promising to heal divisions and reach out to nuclear-armed North Korea. Lee vowed to deter North Korean provocations while opening channels for dialogue and peace. He won the snap elections by a wide margin over conservative Kim Moon-soo. Lee also warned that rising global protectionism and supply chain shifts threaten South Korea's export-dependent economy. The new leader assumed command of the armed forces, urging readiness but emphasizing peace over war. Lee Jae-myung warned that rising trade protectionism and supply chain changes threaten the country's survival. Speaking at his inauguration, he referenced global trade disruptions caused by US President Donald Trump's extensive tariff policies. We'll listen now to South Korea's new president, Lee Jae-myung.
북한 GDP의 2배에 달하는 국방비, 세계 5위의 군사력, 여기에 한미 군사 동맹에 기반한 강력한 억지력으로 북핵과 북한의 군사 도발에 대응하되 북한과의 소통 창구를 열고 대화 협력을 통해 한반도 평화를 구축해 나가겠습니다. 보호주의 확대와 공급망 재편 등 급격한 국제 질서 변화는 우리의 생존 자체를 위협합니다.
Well, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio congratulated Lee, expressing hope for cooperation. He reaffirmed the strong US-ROK alliance based on the Mutual Defense Treaty, shared values and deep economic ties between the two nations. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba seeks to boost cooperation with Lee. Despite historical disputes, Ishiba hopes for a Japan-South Korea summit and stronger ties. He acknowledges mixed South Korean views, but emphasises open dialogue and active exchanges to deepen bilateral relations. Heading back to North America now, Elon Musk is shaking up Washington, slamming President Trump's new tax and spending bill as a disgusting abomination. Musk took to social media to call out the bill's massive price tag and pork barrel spending, claiming it will deepen America's $36 trillion debt. The House passed the bill by just one vote last month. Now it heads to the Senate, controlled by Republicans, where deep divisions still remain. Fiscal conservatives are backing Musk's concerns, demanding changes to reduce deficits. Trump, however, is pushing for passage by July the 4th, calling it his one big, beautiful bill. The bill extends Trump's 2017 tax cuts, boosts defense and border spending, and could add over $3.8 trillion to the debt. Business tax breaks are also on the table, but senators may delay those to win support. Musk's comments test his political clout, coming just days after he left his role in Trump's government. The White House and Republican leaders insist they're moving forward, but the Senate math remains tight. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt dismissed Elon Musk's sharp criticism of Donald Trump's massive spending bill, saying it doesn't change the president's stance. Leavitt reaffirmed Trump's commitment to the legislation, calling it a big, beautiful bill, despite Musk labelling it as a disgusting abomination. Staying in North America, a mass shooting in Toronto's Lawrence Heights neighbourhood has left one person dead and 5 others injured. Toronto police and emergency responders rushed to the scene near Flemington and Zachary Roads, close to Ranney Avenue and Allen Road, following reports of gunfire shortly after 8:30 p.m. local time on Tuesday night. Upon arrival, officers found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Police later confirmed that one man had died. 5 other individuals sustained non-life-threatening injuries and were transported to hospital. Authorities have not released any information about suspects involved in the shooting. A command post has now been set up in the area as investigations continue. Police have yet to identify any suspects or reveal a possible motive. Further updates are expected soon. Moving on now, global automakers have raised alarms over China's tight control of critical minerals. They joined their US counterparts in warning that China's export restrictions on rare earth alloys, mixtures and magnets could cause major production delays and supply outages without a fast resolution. German car makers warn China's export curbs could halt production, disrupt economies. This follows India's EV maker complaint. According to analysts, Beijing's April mineral ban has shaken global supply chains across auto, aerospace, tech and defence industries. Meanwhile, President Trump plans to invoke emergency powers to cut legal hurdles, including some congressional funding approvals under a law aimed at boosting US production of critical minerals and weapons. This, according to a Reuters-sourced document. Trump's action would apply the Defense Production Act as a US law that gives the president broad powers to manage domestic industries and resources during national security emergencies. The document, expected to be published on the Federal Register today, shows that Trump previously used the Korean War-era law in March to boost domestic critical mineral production for consumer goods, computer chips, robotics, and advanced weaponry. The law requires congressional approval for projects over $50 million and a one-year deadline, but the president can waive this in an emergency, and Trump is expected to do so, according to reports. The White House hasn't yet commented. Former President Joe Biden also used similar waivers to speed up vaccine and medical equipment production during the COVID-19 pandemic. Heading back to the Middle East, and Israel has launched another round of military strikes on Syria after 2 projectiles were reportedly fired from Syrian territory towards Israel. In response, the Israeli military says it targeted weapons facilities belonging to the Syrian government in southern Syria, marking the second such strike within hours. Israeli mortars also reportedly hit areas near Daraa, close to the Golan Heights. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant directly blamed Syrian leadership for the escalation. He declared Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa directly responsible for any fire or threat originating from Syrian soil, vowing a full response. Meanwhile, the Syrian Foreign Ministry says reports of projectiles fired at Israel have not been verified and cautioned that Syria poses no threat to anyone. Damascus says some forces may be trying to destabilize the region to serve their own interests. Heading back to the Indo-Pacific, and Lai Ching-te, the president of Taiwan, marked the 36th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square crackdown by honouring the courage of those who protested for democracy in 1989. He stressed that human rights are a universal value shared by democracies around the world, and not just a part of history to be remembered, but a principle to be upheld daily. Lai criticised authoritarian regimes for trying to erase history, saying that democratic societies choose to preserve the truth and honour those who sacrificed for freedom. He also reiterated Taiwan's commitment to these core values, despite Beijing's opposition to his leadership. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio commemorated the bravery of the Chinese people who lost their lives during the crackdown and those who continue to seek justice for the events of June 4th, 1989. He pointed out that while the Chinese Communist Party seeks to censor and suppress the truth, the world will never forget the sacrifices made in the pursuit of fundamental freedoms. Moving on now, a tragic highway accident in northern Mexico has left 11 people dead and more than 20 others injured. The incident occurred in the town of Hualahuises in Nuevo Leon state when a bus overturned en route to Tampico in neighbouring Tamaulipas. Local authorities say the passengers were mostly tourists. Emergency responders rushed to the scene following reports of the crash. Road accidents have been on the rise across Mexico, often blamed on poor vehicle maintenance, reckless driving or driver fatigue. This comes just months after one of the country's deadliest crashes, where 38 people were killed in a collision. And moving to sport now, Indian batsman Virat Kohli has led Royal Challengers Bangalore to victory as they defeated Punjab Kings by 6 runs to secure their first Indian Premier League title. Kohli scored 43 runs off 35 balls at the top of the order, helping Bengaluru post a strong total of 190 for 9, which proved too much for the resilient Punjab side that fought hard but finished at 184 for 7. Over 91,000 fans filled the 132,000 capacity stadium in Ahmedabad after the win. 36-year-old Kohli, one of India's greatest ever cricketers across all formats, collapsed to the ground before rising to be embraced by his teammates, while the crowd cheered for their hero. Punjab's chase was hampered when left-arm spinner Krunal Pandya picked up 2 wickets for just 17 runs in his 4 overs.